With the release of Natlan, we got an absolute gold mine of ore deposits. So, in this Genshin Impact guide, I'm gonna show you how you can get around 150 Condessence Crystals, that's over 30 Mystic Enhancement Ores, in just 10 minutes. I will show you all the good spots, their locations on the map, and how to best chain them together into a cohesive farming route. And with all that being said, let's jump right into it. Now, before we get into the mining itself, I want to take a quick minute to talk about my team composition right here. For my personal mining runs, I use this very specialized team. In order to move faster from point A to point B, I'm using Natlan as well as Xianyun because, as you see right here, they are incredible good picks for quick movement. I then combine these two with Zhongli as well as Razor because for both of these characters, if you hold their elemental skill, that creates an AoE that instantly explodes all ore deposits around them, making it very convenient for mining runs. However, in case you don't have all these characters, which is, by the way, perfectly fine, the mining routes I'm about to show you will naturally also work. They might just take 1 or 2 minutes longer. Just make sure that in case you don't have any of these characters, you at least bring one Claymore user, because otherwise it's just gonna take ages to crack down these ore veins. With a Claymore, that's done in 3 hits. And as always, if you could maybe consider leaving the video a like, that would be incredibly nice because it helps me big time with the YouTube algorithm. So cheers so much for your support. And now, let's finally get mining. Starting out, we do in the very east of Natlan on this teleporter point right here. Pretty simple, just teleport to this point, jump off the cliff, and you can already see it down there. These are going to be our first Condessence Crystals. The next ore deposit is between the Statue of the Seven and a teleporter point. Doesn't really matter to which of those locations you port yourself, just pick one of them and then make your way to the ore deposit in the middle. Now, I gotta be real here, it is a little bit of a walk, but given the sheer amount of Condessence Crystals that we find in this area, I would say it is worth the walk, even if you don't have a specialized mobility character in your party. The next spot is right around the corner from the Blazing Ruins, so just teleport there and you can already see it. It's just 2 Condessence Crystals, but given the fact that they're basically right on top of the fast travel point, that makes them worth going for. Let's next continue on the top of the map, where we find a rich ore deposit right next to a fast travel point. Pretty straightforward, you can see the crystals right here. Just get them and move on a little bit to the left, where we find the next fast travel point, from which on we can take the leap of faith down into the valley, where we find another nice ore deposit of 3 Condessence Crystals. Now, usually there's also a ton of iron ore with those crystals, but today I happen to have my commission right here, so I accidentally destroyed them before the recording. Okay, up next we have this area right here, which is around an enemy camp. All in all, there are quite a lot of Condessence Crystals to be found here. However, the teleporters happen to be a bit further away from here, so you can decide for yourself whether you want to go for that area or not. If you have a movement specialist, it's a no-brainer, definitely go for it, but if not, you might want to skip the entire thing. Up next on the list, we have the Flower Feather Clan's home base, where we have a fast travel point basically right on top of an ore vein. Just port there, jump down, and there you go. The next location is also in the vicinity of the Flower Feather Clan, and this one is pretty cool. You go to this fast travel point right here, transform yourself into a Kukasaur to then quickly plunge down all the way into the valley to get this first ore deposit right here, and then the second one is over there, right where the ley line spawned. And once you're done with both of them, you can again transform into the Kukasaur, fly over to this cliff area where we have another nice deposit, and once you're done with that, there's a 4th one right around the corner from here. The next 2 ore deposits are located on this mini island in the center of the ocean. Just teleport there, jump down, and then you will find them down here. Don't worry about the Ruin Guard, usually you're gonna be done with the mining before he fully awakes and starts attacking you. However, if you like to play it safe, you can of course also just take him out. And then finishing with the top of the map, we have this spot right here, right at the top left, where we simply teleport to the fast travel point, walk a bit down the path, and get a rich Condessence Crystal deposit. Now, the next 2 ore deposits are right at this Statue of the Seven near the Masters of the Nightwind camp, where both times we're gonna teleport to the statue, then one time jump down on the right to mine the ores, and then go back to the statue, this time take the left route, jump down again and mine those. Just a quick note here, there are some enemies around this area, but if you have a specific mining character who can do that with their skill, you should be able to mine those ore deposits before the enemies actively start getting in the way. And then we make our way to the Masters of the Nightwind, to this fast travel point right next to their quest board, where, again, all we have to do is jump down right here and we already see the Condessence Crystals in front of us. We now have one more all the way to the left here. Again, teleport to the fast travel point, jump down, get the Condessence Crystals, and move on. So, now that we're done with the top and the left side of the map, let's make our way to the center again near the Stadium of the Sacred Flame, where first of all I would port to this fast travel point here, and even though my movement here is a little bit cringe and I kind of miss my jump and everything, if you do it right, you can access this ore deposit right here relatively quickly, so I would say it is worth it. However, if you happen to not have a movement specialist in your team, you might want to skip this specific one here. The next one though is totally obvious, port to the Statue of the Seven, and it's right there. Okay, that would be the top and the center of the map. However, there are some extremely rich ore deposits, especially here in the mountain area in the south, so I would say let's talk about those next. The first two spots would be around the Ancestral Temple. You can start from either of the two teleport points, really depends on your personal preference. I chose the right one, then jump down right here to access the first ore deposit, and after that, run a little bit further down into the valley to find spot 2 and 3, which will net you a nice sum of crystals. The next 3 locations that we're going to take a look at are going to be on the plateau up here. The first one is very close to the waypoint, just teleport here and you will find the crystals under the big tree. The next 2 are also both going to be accessed from the same fast travel point, however you might have to walk a little bit more for those, but I still think they are worth it even if you don't have a specific movement character in your party. Now, the next 2 are a little bit more special, and while they have a lot of Condessence Crystals in store for you, I wouldn't necessarily go for them if you don't have a specific movement-based character in your party because it's going to take a long time. Even though it looks like on the map there is a fast travel point right next to the first one, this is actually a location that you can't use. Instead, you gotta go from this waypoint right here, then run all the way over to the cliff, jump down to find the first ore deposit, and then once you're done with that, run all the way over to the next cliff right here, jump down again to finally find the second ore deposit. With my Yelan in combination with my Shanyun, this for me is no problem because it goes relatively fast, but if you personally can't do that, I would recommend to exclude these 2 spots here. The next 2 ones though are very easy. You just teleport to the Statue of the Sevens at the Signs of the Canopy, jump down here to get the first one, and then walk a tiny little bit over there near to the riverside to find the second location. This now would be it for the resource-rich plateau area in the center, however, there are a few single spots in the south as well that I want to talk about next. For the first one, just teleport to this waypoint and jump down the cliff, you will already see the crystals. And then the second and also last one for today's list would be accessed from this waypoint over here. Again, just jump down and you will already see them. Now, this would be my personal Natlan mining route. However, the video isn't over yet, and before you click away, there is one more important topic that I want to talk about. See, as some of you might remember, I already put out a video before the release of Natlan talking about mining routes for the entirety of Tibet, including every single other region. And in this video, I made the following calculations. Ore deposits take 3 days in real life to respawn. And per day, you can craft up to 30 Mystic Enhancement Ores, requiring you to use a total of 120 crystals. In other words, what that means is, if you want to get the most Mystic Enhancement Ores possible, you need to mine 360 crystals in total in order to fuel your foundry for 3 consecutive days before you can go and get more. With the routes that I showed in that video, you were already able to get those 360 crystals without even taking Natlan into account. However, the problem with this was that the routes there included some very tedious locations. Why is that so important? Because now with Natlan we have access to around 150 extra Condessence Crystals, allowing us to revisit all the old locations and throw out everything that we really don't like to get a huge time save. So let's quickly also go over the most tedious and the absolute worst locations from my old video so that you know which of these you can now throw out and never visit again. First off, in Mondstadt we didn't have all that many locations to begin with. However, these two right here will definitely be taken out because most of the time they don't spawn with all too many ores and they're just not worth the time. Next, in Liyue, if you don't have a character that can travel very quickly over water, then definitely throw out this entire island right here. Then up next, this cave at the bottom of the mountain will totally fly out because the ore deposits here were very spread out, so it took a lot of time to mine them all. Then the one all the way in the north, and that's basically it. Now, for Inazuma, we can also eliminate quite a lot. First of all, in Narukami Island, we take out both of the ore locations near the Kamisato estate. Then we throw out the entire southern island completely, and the two ore locations in the middle near the Statue of the Seven. If you don't like them, then you can also maybe consider throwing those ones out because Natlan is just gonna give us enough crystals to compensate for that. Up next, in Sumeru, there are two locations that I'm very happy that I don't need to visit them again. One of which would be the one to the north of the Statue of the Seven right here, because A, the crystal chunks here are very spaced out, and B, you have those super nasty dendro plants and enemy spawns in the camp to the north, which are a further distraction. Never ever visit these ones again. And finally, in the top right of the map, also these will completely fly out because A, it takes a lot of time to get to them, and B, they are spaced out and also have enemies around them that will bother you. As for Fontaine, I would say my previous Fontaine run was already relatively optimized, so there are not that many locations that are really bad. So I would say in this case, not much change here. If there are specific ones that you personally don't like, of course, you can always go for them and throw those out. And if you now want to see the whole mining guide for all the other regions, then this right here is the video to go to. We see each other, hopefully in the next one, and until then, as always, travel smart.